Hello everyone, I'm Santiago, and today I'm gonna be testing Sniper Elite 4 on the GeForce GTX 1050 Ti for FPS monitoring. This time I won't be using cam, since I'm testing DX 12 and cam currently doesn't support DX 12, so in the meantime I'll use MSI Afterburner instead. So Sniper Elite 4, I'll do 1080p, 1440p, 900p and 720p. To skip to any of those sections of the video, check the description below. Keep in mind that I will also try to target 60 frames per second on some occasions when it's possible, and sometimes the game wants me to restart after changing anything, so I don't know which settings need the game to restart. It doesn't say anywhere, so I'll try to restart the game as much as possible when changing settings. So on 1080p I tried first to get 60 frames per second, and then I'll try to get 30. So for 60s it was kind of difficult. It was between 35 and 70 frames per second most of the time. With the tweak settings I use for 1080p, I wasn't able to get 60 frames per second all the time, but maybe with some overclocking you might be able to get a more stable frame rate. Then for 30 frames per second you can play at ultra settings just fine. On 900p it was much easier to get 60 frames per second consistently, and ultra settings again will be over 30 no problem. At 720p 60 frames per second was possible on ultra settings, but it had some drops every now and then, so I suggest using my tweaked 1080p settings for 720p too. It doesn't look that much different from ultra and it runs much better. And finally at 1440p it was impossible to hit 60 frames per second, so I targeted 30 and it was possible to get that frame rate, which I was surprised about. But now I'm going to tell you some stuff that you should keep in mind when tweaking the game. First of all, I recommend using DX 12. In this game it seems that it's finally done correctly. Just test it out. In the launcher, go to the options and tick the option called D3D12 and you'll get an option to use asynchronous compute, so I suggest you use that. It's a very noticeable FPS boost. Then in the options menu itself, for texture detail we have from low to ultra. If you have a 2GB card, for example a 950 or 750 Ti, if you use high some textures won't load. On my videos of both of those cards I use high textures, but I suggest trying medium. Then for shadows again we have from low to ultra. I suggest using high if you don't have a very high-end card. It's not really that hard to run. This controls the shadow resolution and distance. Then reflection detail we have from low to ultra too. With this one I'm kinda disappointed. These are screen space reflections, they look pretty good, and this controls the resolution of the reflections. I suggest keeping this on medium or low. It's a good FPS boost and you don't really notice it while playing the game, but it would be nice to have an option to turn them off, since that will be a decent frame rate boost. Then we have anti-aliasing off, low, medium and high. This is not a big FPS hit, but if you're having trouble with the frame rate, turn it off. It seems to be some filter like SMAA or FXAA, nothing fancy about it. Draw distance we have from low to ultra, which is just a draw distance as the name suggests. A small FPS boost by lowering this. Then we have anisotropic filtering, motion blur, ambient occlusion. It seems to be SSAO. Tessellation and obscurance fields, I suggest to turn them off. They are good FPS boosts, as well as ambient occlusion. And that's pretty much the options menu. Personally, I think that the best configuration, for example for the 1050 Ti, 950, something of that tier, is high textures, high shadows, low or medium reflections, anti-aliasing off, draw distance on medium, anisotropic 16 times, motion blur off, ambient occlusion yes, tessellation and obscurance fields off, and DX 12 with asynchronous compute enabled. There it doesn't look that much different from the highest setting, and it runs much better than the highest setting, so I suggest using that. One important thing I forgot to mention, when you're into the foliage, just hiding from the enemy, and you get the camera closer to your character, you'll see that the foliage will be transparent. Well, that is a huge hit to the frame rate. I was getting like 60s and when I did that, it's a bigger FPS hit. I got a drop from 60 to 40 sometimes, so keep that in mind. I didn't see a way to get rid of that problem, but maybe with a patch, if we request it to the developers, we can see a way to just, instead of getting transparencies there, just to disappear the grass or something. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you keep enjoying the video. Thanks for watching and see you next time.
That tower looks like a good vantage point. Can't find anything else.
Bájale.